wonder what this means for the new. Well, I guess he's probably still under contract to do Guardians of the Galaxy
That is
3.
absolutely nuts that he's doing Guardians 3 and he's the head of DC now. It's crazy. The leader of a rival studio. Hey, look.
I
Hey,
would make the shittiest Guardians movie ever.
you feel me? I would tank it. I would make the worst movie ever and just go out the back door back to DC. So, what you're doing at DC, whether fair or unfair, is inevitably going to be judged by how it stacks up against the MCU properties, right? So, if you make a glowing Guardians of the Galaxy over there, while your DC projects are, struggling to get off the ground and to build, what you trying to do this new universe with James Gunn, and it's the same guy doing both. Seems like a conflict.
Yeah,
Seems like there would be a conflict there. Seems like he would have a much better, he would have a vested interest in not doing so well in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and just tanking it.
do you think James Gunn is the guy? Like, do you think he can take DC somewhere?
I think that was the best they could do. I think that was the best they could come up with.
I think they probably caught him, in the hallway after they asked somebody else, Kevin Feige. They went into his office. Hey, shot in the dark. You want
Dog.
to come over here? Feige says no. They walk out into the hallway, see James Gunn. You want to be in DC? You want to head this whole thing?
Well,
Sure, why not?
I think it's really interesting though because he's had some bad at bats there. Like the first Suicide Squad was not. That's not something that you just want to hang your hat on. Now this newer iteration, the Suicide Squad movie that just came out with Idris Elba and John Cena, and then even the Peacemaker series. You know what? Okay, that's a little better. That's a little better. Can he do that for multiple properties? I think the thing that'll challenge James Gunn the most in this role is not doing what Marvel is struggling with now, where they seem to they can't make a property without it being funny. James Gunn, his more popular products or his most popular or more popular productions that he's put out have been with that same type of slapstick humor. You don't want to land base that. You don't want to paint with a broad brush with that. That it only lasts so long, and people are already tired of it as it is. So I feel like that is going to be his biggest thing is finding tonal changes in between characters, and if he's going to be over the whole shebang, over all of DC, kind of finding ways to mix and match things and put them together, and not just making movies that how he makes them. I think for what it's worth, Kevin Feige, while he does oversee everything, it doesn't seem like he's a micromanager. If he was, I don't think we get a lot of the stuff that we've gotten in Phase 4. So it doesn't seem like he micromanages all like that. Maybe that's something that would benefit James Gunn. We don't know. We never seen him in a role like this. It's just interesting because there's not much of a resume that says, yeah, this guy can lead a cinematic universe. I like the second Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one was a little, was a meh. So it's like, who are you? Not to mention, he got a little controversy on him too. But
Yeah,
that they're the new boss over there at WB. I don't think they don't give a damn. They don't care nothing about that type of stuff.
as long as you're making content that works for Middle America, controversy, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally can't even say whether or not he can be the likes of a Kevin Feige for DC because who has been a Kevin Feige for any other cinematic universe?
Yeah, it's. I mean, the MCU is the first of its kind in that it's that expansive and it's lasted this long. So there really isn't another person to model Kevin after in that regard. What James Gunn I think has to do is establish this new universe in a new way. You don't have to do everything like the MCU. You don't have to follow their timeline. And honestly, I think it's going to be that of an anti, not straight up anti Marvel. I don't think they want to pay that much deference to them in that way, but kind of just different in tone to that of MCU movies. I think where they're headed right now with DC, they're gonna have superhero movies that everyone can enjoy, but that adults will go to see without their kids. Some of the Marvel movies are getting to the point now where it's like you're almost uncomfortable to be there if you don't have your kid. You know what I mean? It's that type of goober that
Yeah.
they're putting out over there on some of these things. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. I am interested to see how it plays out, and I think that there's enough there to be excited because now at least you have a guy if you're DC. We just need to see it executed now.
You bring forth an interesting point in the fact that they can kind of explore that realm of content that Disney just doesn't even want to involve themselves in. So, does that kind of force Disney's hand, maybe even a little bit, to start providing the Blade that we want, or providing, some of these titles?
It's been like that though for a couple years already. Though, like when you've got things like the Boys, you got Invincible, you got Titans, you got
That's
Doom
true.
Patrol. Like there's been rougher superhero content that's been appearing over the last 4 or 5 years, and where you would have thought Marvel would have adjusted and kind of got with the times. I think project over project over project where we expected to see that it just didn't. It didn't raise to the level of a Boys. It didn't raise to the level of a Peacemaker. It didn't raise to the level of any of those more gritty superhero shows. They just lightly dabbled their toe into it and showed a little bit more blood. I don't think that they will bend to that unless they start to lose more of the market share. That's what's going to have to happen to make them go. Because you know what, we did that stream with E-Man and Planet FanX a couple weeks back, right?
Planet Fanatics.
What am I saying? Planet FanX, Planet Fanatics,
You said Planet Fanax, but it's Planet Fanatics.
Fanatics. My bad, y'all. Shout out to Darius and the crew. But E-Man made a point, and I've been thinking about it. He said that they're not going to buckle off of one financial blunder or loss because they're too big. And I guess there is weight to that, but it's not totally true. What it is that it's got to be death by a thousand cuts. There has to be a trend. Now, I happen to believe that phase 4 is the start of those thousand cuts. There were legitimately projects in this phase that kind of set the fan base awry. Now you can go back and you can call them a bunch of misogynists and racists and whatever, and continue to point your finger back at your consumer base and say no, you're wrong. You can do that, absolutely. You can even go as far as She-Hulk did and pretty much throw all of the fan base that's criticizing the show under the bus preemptively, by the way. It really says something when you know to write an episode into your show to talk about the critics. It really says something that you did that before you ever even got a reaction. It really says something about the confidence you have in your writing. Lord Jesus, I don't think Jessica Gal will ever get another Marvel project, to say the least. But you can go that far if you want to. That is not a sustainable model. Dunking on your own fans for not liking what you want them to like is not a sustainable model. So eventually they'll have to get there because the market will dictate that they get there. People are no longer just following blindly after what Marvel is doing. I keep telling y'all this. The number one movie in Phase 4 was No Way Home. It was made by Sony. Tell me No Way Home feels like the rest of this phase. Yes, of course, this is the phase of grief for some reason or another. So yeah, that played a role. But just watching the movie itself, tell me that movie felt like it was in the same universe as Shang-Chi or Eternals or Black Widow. Tell me it felt like those things were happening in the same place. They don't have to do that. Black Adam, same thing. Like, they're taking their own routes. And it remains to see how successful they'll be with it. But if they are, and it's different from Marvel, well, now you might have peeking eyeballs from the sheep over there that might want to see what's going on over here. Because it's new, it's different, it's exciting. You only get one shot at being the new kids on the block. We shall see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'll be excited to see what he can do, if anything. It can't be any worse than what it has been at points. So we'll see what he can do.
Oh no, it could get better. It could get worse. It can get worse.
Can't get much worse.
I wonder though, now that James Gunn is over DC, if he'll have a little talk with J.J. Abrams about this Black Superman thing. Hey, James. Shh, hey. Come here. Hey, look, I know you're trying to do that whole Black Superman thing. It's this guy. His name is Icon. Just look him up. I swear to God, it's everything that you're trying to do, and you don't have to call him Clark Kent. Just read this. Here. That's the first thing I need James Gunn to do. Get him to introduce Icon and Rocket.
We'll see. We'll see if we can do that. Any other thoughts?
That's going to be it for me, man. Give us your thoughts on James Gunn taking over at DC. Do you think it's a good move? Do you think he is the best guy for the job? Comment in the prompt below. Let us know. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and come back next week for more content.
Absolutely. And the last thing we discussed DC-wise was we actually did a review for Black Adam. So make sure you check that out. And then also make sure you subscribe. Any kind of news that we get about Marvel, DC, either one, we'll make sure to review it.